Hi there, knife people, hello lady and gentlemen. Tonight is a little bit of a departure for me because I will be reviewing Multitool, specifically Leatherman ARC and its predecessor, Leatherman Free P4. If you are more of a tool person than a knife person, then you probably considering buying this tool or already bought this tool because you were sold on that MagnaCut blade. Be honest now, you heard about MagnaCut and you just had to have it. Otherwise, if you are just looking for functionality, there's literally nothing wrong with a free P4 for 90 bucks less. There's a multitude of knives now made with this MagnaCut blade, and they all are made in the US or in Italy. Those are the only two countries who are currently using MagnaCut. There is an American company called Crucible Industries. They make steel. There's several steels that are commonly used in knives that company makes in powder form. You've probably seen it on some of your blades, like CPM S30V, CPM S35VN, CPM S45VN, 20CV, S90V, S110, Rex 45, CPM M4, CPM 3V, CPM 154, Crewwear.
That's about it.
These steels are very tough, corrosion resistant, or very hard corrosion resistant steels. CPM MagnaCut is the first steel that combines the triad of these qualities into one steel. It has pretty decent edge retention, very good toughness, and very high corrosion resistance. It's a jack of all trades and master of none. When you're buying a knife made out of this steel, what you're going for is that balance. Now, how much do you use a knife on your multi-tool? Do you really need that kind of balance? That is the question. And on the P4 model, Leatherman answered that question by putting a serrated blade made out of 420C steel, as well as a straight edge 420C steel blade. Did you know that all other things being equal, the serrated edge will outlast a straight edge by a factor of 6? This, by the way, is a factory edge on this P4. I have not had a chance to sharpen it. And having two blades has its advantages. It's an edge retention multiplier. Imagine my big surprise when I saw that for my extra $90, I get one blade fewer on the ARC. Well, if Leatherman was talking to me, they would probably say, at least we gave you scissors on both models. And they can cut. What I got instead of a second blade on the ARC is this file/knife sharpener, because this is diamond powder coated. So if my blade dulls, I can always, now wait a second, this is not detachable. So how would I sharpen this blade? So if I brought my American-made or my Italian-made MagnaCut blades with me, I could probably sharpen them using this. Well, thanks, Leatherman, anyway. So let's tally it up. MagnaCut Upgrade, based on what I see in the market on other knives, going from non-MagnaCut to MagnaCut, it's about $20, $30 upgrade. Losing the second blade, the blade itself is a much more complex grind because it is a compound grind. There are several grinds going on here. I figure that you lost retail value of at least 40, 50 bucks. I'm gonna be conservative, put 40. And knife sharpener edit right here, we're gonna go back and put maybe 20 bucks. Put 20 bucks back. Fair deal? So far, we are plus $10. And while I'm thinking of it, and then two multi-tools are in front of me, what in the world possessed them to eliminate this texturing on the grip? This is way too slick compared to this even. Even that little bit of a texturing helps. And I don't know if you can see, this is brand new. It hasn't done any work yet. And it already showing scratches where this one been in and out of my pocket, worked on several projects. And if there are scratches, this texture hides them quite well. So I don't know if I can put money value on it, but what the heck, Leatherman. And another thing I wish they kept is that slot opening on the blade, because I personally hate thumb studs. I sharpen my knives, and it's my hobby to sharpen knives. And studs, they always get in the way. Not only they're in the way, but if you forget to remove them, the stone will hit them and you will get a divot somewhere on the blade and a shave-off material on the stud itself. And if you're gonna slap a thumb stud on the knife, at least do it right. Because if you don't remove it, you're gonna have to really struggle finding the way not to hit it. If this stud was relocated to where roughly letter S and A meet, then when the knife is in the open position, see where that stud would have been? And then you could sharpen the entire blade without risk, or with reduced risk of hitting the stud. And in a closed position, you would still have plenty of access to engage. It doesn't have to be in the middle of this cutout. This is pure aesthetics with disregard to functionality. As far as running it with a gloved hand, let's see. I can still do it. I have to press down a little bit, but I don't feel unsafe at any point of this operation. And obviously, it's actually a little bit easier with a thumb stud because you do have ability to feel it better through the glove. With leather glove, I haven't tried that yet. Let's see if you had a leather glove, how would that feel? No problem here, and no problem here, obviously. If anything, it's actually a little easier. Well, anyway, these smart solutions that you had on the P4, that's the exact reason why I bought it. And imagine my disappointment where you taking an evolutionary step back on a knife that is a lot more expensive. Another huge selling point for the ARC is this screwdriver that can accept different bits. But you have to be aware that these are Leatherman proprietary bits. With the capability comes this bit set, which is on the Leatherman site called bit set number 1. And it includes a variety of different bits, most of which I find useless. There's a couple useful Phillips and flat, and I think that's a flat hex. Interesting concept here. And there are a couple Torx, which is what I put here. This is T10 and T15. So I don't know of a lot of knives that use T15, but there's a heck of a lot more knives that using T8/T6 bit, Leatherman itself included. Yet this doesn't exist in bit set number 1, which the Multitool comes with. So for you to be able to maintain your knives, you have to buy bit set number 2, which sets you back $15. This additional capability on a retail site worth roughly, we're gonna say $30. I'm being generous here. And then the bit set itself $15. So let's call it $45. So now we are at $35 of added value, except for the intangibles that I already touched on. All right, so now let's get into a little bit of what you see on the tool that you may not have seen on the previous tools. Because this is a removable bit here, they put a little fence around it right here. See this L-shaped piece of metal? What it does is if you drop the knife on this hand, you will not lose the bit. It will be stopped from flying out inertially by that little metal fence. It's not removable, doesn't open for any other reason. And additionally, they slightly changed the shape of the can opener and forgot to sharpen it. This is absolutely dull. I can press it in my finger. It does nothing. I believe that was also the case on the previous model, if I find it. Where is it? Yeah. So this is sharp, but I have a feeling that I might have sharpened it myself at some point. For comparison, these things come sharp on Victorinox tools. And on the other side, you have a screwdriver for your eyeglasses. If I lost a screw and had to use it, I wouldn't be able to find the screw or put it in without my close-up glasses. But let's just say if you want to be a hero, I don't know about you guys, my significant other always loses screws in her glasses, they loosen. So if you want to be a hero to your significant other, you can always come in with this tool and fix her or his glasses. They changed the shape of the owl. Let me find it here. Yeah, so they sharpened this owl, which this one was dull, and they were kind of expecting you to sharpen it yourself. But this one had a hole to put a thread in. So I don't know if you ever done leather stitching. That's a useful feature. I wish they didn't delete it here. And they put a wire stripper on the same tool. And then they have this immensely thick. This is thick, ladies and gentlemen. Let me find it on the P4 just for comparison. Sorry about all the fumbling. Now, they are not located all in the same places. Well, actually, I'll take it back. On the pry bar on the P4 is incredibly robust. I'm going to say at least a millimeter thicker than an ARC. And this has some kind of also sharpened edge. I'm not sure what this recurve sharpened edge would do. It is absent anywhere on this tool. The scissors, by the way, are identical, and I like that they're locked and I have a really good grip. Now, if I run them this way, it's a little awkward, but if you hold them in this orientation, you can snip nicely. They do cut quite effectively. They even work on the fibrous thin material. That's an indication of how precisely they're built and how well they're ground. So if it was poorly ground, it wouldn't have worked. I do think that certain tradesmen would benefit from using this tool. For example, if you're working with electric wiring, this scissors provide very good way to sort of score the insulation. It doesn't damage the scissors at all. You're just scoring the plastic insulation. And then you can use the wire stripper to strip off the rest of the insulation. Function that will perform well is what I call a third hand. So when you soldering something, as you may know, sometimes you feel like you need a third hand. So this tool can meet this functionality. There's a little bit of space on the bottom of your cutting inserts there, and that's a good place to clamp a piece of wire. And now let's do the same to the second piece of wire. Getting a little bit of solder on it. In this orientation, pliers don't provide much of the clamping force, but you can always adjust it a little bit. Here you go. And now we can join the other piece of wire. And speaking of wires, here are some old guitar strings of different thickness. So I'm going to test the snippers now. Let's see if they can snip going from the thinnest to the thickest. These are acoustic guitar strings with steel core and copper or bronze windings. And as you can see, the snippers snip them off without any issues. Nothing gets stuck in between, if you know what I mean. There's no play. There's a brand new. So right now there's zero play. And right out the box, they snip great. Next, I'm going to test it on bicycle brake cable. This is a conceivable situation. If you bring your multi-tool on a bike ride, you may have to deal with a steel cable. This is much harder than the guitar strings. So what you see happening here is the cable did get caught between the blades, and now I'm having difficulty unlocking the pliers because the handles will not take the outward pressure. They break loose before they can move the plier head. But the second time is the charm here. I'm cutting at the same spot and it snips it right off. And now it's time to test the crimping functionality. This plier head is equipped with a crimping spot there. I'll show you in a second. So I'm opening, this is fishing weights, but I'm going to use this guitar string to attach it to. So I pre-clamp it with my fingers so that I can get my tool on it. And here's a technique. You fold the plier head down and you can use it this way. And as you can see, it does a fairly good job. Obviously, you can do it this way as well. But no, I don't like it because just too much in the way. It's kind of hard to get it in there. I like this way, and then I'm going to uncrimp it to remove the weight. You can do it too. And there you have it. Boom. As you know, the handle is held together in a closed position via magnets that are located right here. And so this gives you an additional functionality. If you drop something where you can't reach with your fingers, you can use the magnet to pick it up. And another tool that it has is what some people refer to as a hammer. It's all 3 flat surfaces that are backed by the weight of the stool, which is almost 8 ounces. And so some people will use it as a hammer. Now, let me show you the proper use of this tool. So if you have a screw and you want to get it started, it's perfectly fine to hammer it like that and then get to your screwdriver and now you can work the screw into the wood. You have to be a complete moron to try to hammer a nail like this, because you will inadvertently, first of all, it doesn't go in very easily, and you inadvertently will hurt your fingers. But what you can do is you can place this flat surface and use any handy material that you find nearby. Don't hammer on this side. I would use this side. And this is a method I've been using in my outdoor adventures. And here's an interesting use for this can opener. It scrapes wood pretty well. I carved the spoon with a different multi-tool, but I used the can opener, very similar to this one, to carve the spoon's hand. And to show off Felix Imler, the Victorinox guy, I carved the fork out of the other end because he was using that new fixed blade knives that didn't have a saw blade on it or with it. So I used a saw to get these teeth started. This is a very decent saw. In case you wonder, this is hardwood, some sort of oak, most likely white oak. And here's some antler, staghorn. Apologies for shaky camera. It's working it. The file isn't bad. It actually, when I run it on a mild steel, it takes good burr on the rough file side. The diamond side, I'm gonna take this knife that is an inexpensive knockoff of something. I'll probably get some comments from avid knife sharpeners on YouTube, exactly what I'm doing wrong here. But remember, I'm trying to hold it in front of the camera too, while maintaining the angle. And believe it or not, it raised burr pretty good. And I think we'll just, if you're in the field conditions and have a leather belt or a piece of leather to strap on, I think it'll actually get you there. I wish it was detachable so I could use it on that MagnaCut blade, because diamond is what you need for MagnaCut, but they didn't think of it. As I said earlier, this is a fun tool. The fun factor is off the scale. And I see about $30 to $35 value increase due to the MagnaCut on the blade and the interchangeable screwdriver bits. Now, I do see the value decrease because there is no secondary blade, serrated blade like on the P4. And the diamond file, diamond knife sharpener is not removable, so you can't actually sharpen its own blade with that tool. And fun factor on the P4 is actually the same. It does do everything that the ARC will. So for $55, $60, all you're getting is a couple interesting screwdrivers. And it's your choice.